Hey everybody, welcome to yet another edition of Flash Fried, the show where three uneducated fucking neckbeard retards read the news and react.
Excuse me, TJ. That's two uneducated neckbeard retards and a totally brilliant philosopher known as Paul Zigo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When's he coming along? We're waiting for him to show up still.
That's
right there.
deep. That's
right
deep,
there.
Scotty.
Pew all ego right there.
Didn't see that one coming, did you, Small?
Woo! Yeah, you destroyed him, Scotty. You destroyed him.
I know where Pooall is, though.
How dare you
Pooall
talk?
Ego.
How dare you talk to the new Rosa Parks like that, Scotty?
The new Rosa Parks, dude.
Yeah, Paul is the new Rosa Parks.
According to whom?
I went to the comments section on the video we uploaded yesterday where we're arguing about like electoral politics and shit. And the first comment I read is just like, TJ supports Jim Crow and Paul is like the new Rosa Parks. I'm like, all right, I'm already done. I'm instantly done.
Dude, you know what?
That dude is the smartest fucking guy in our fan
I thought
base.
you might think that.
It's for a different reason, though. It's for a different reason. Paul's just too lazy to get up. They're like, move your seat. And he's like, I can't. No, fuck it, I'm staying.
Like, nah,
I'm staying.
there's no point to this. I'm staying right where I'm at.
I don't
like,
feel like it.
That requires effort. That's not me. I'm just going to sit here. Then, of course, you know, the whole system gets pissed off at Paul. Get out of your seat. And Paul's doing is sitting there. So it doesn't make any fucking sense. He's just fucking sitting around the bus, riding on the bus, and they want to fuck with him. So people can see the validity of Paul's arguments. That's all I'm saying, TJ.
Rosa Paul. All right.
And you're like the evil white cop coming to beat down the system.
Well, I'm not beating down the system. I'm beating down people who oppose
I'm sorry,
the
beating
system.
down Paul. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
It's like, yeah, don't like the system, huh? Take this billy club up the ass. Anyway, Speaking of police brutality and black people, George Floyd's family says 4 officers involved in his death should be charged with murder. The family of George Floyd, who died after pleading that he couldn't breathe while a police officer held him down with a knee on his neck. This picture is fucking brutal. Let me just open that up.
Yeah, I've seen the picture of it. It's fucking like
Right,
if this
so
dude
this
was
is
a machete or something and he was swinging it at you.
This is a grainy version of the fucking picture, but I mean, you can just see.
It's just total brutality, total fucking. It's murder, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like he's literally just like kneeling down on the dude's neck. So.
Well, I mean, before the police encounter, he was alive, and after he was dead. I don't know what else you would call that. I mean, like obviously, I guess he could have killed himself, but
I mean, like I think
there's
instances where people encounter the police and then they die, and you look at what happened and you're like, well, he charged them with a knife and tried to stab them or something.
Well, sure. Was it done in self-defense?
This
is a valid question to ask.
This is not
in this case.
This is not one of those incidents. They were supposed to be there to serve and protect, and I didn't see a single one of them lift a finger to do anything to help while he was begging for his life. Not one of them tried to do anything to help him. Tara Brown, Floyd's cousin, told CNN's Don Lemon. In an emotional interview Tuesday night, Brown and Floyd's 2 brothers held up his picture and spoke of a man who didn't hurt anybody and who they described as a gentle giant. Knowing my brother is to love my brother, Philanese, Floyd said. Is that how that's pronounced? Philanese? I don't know. They said they could have tased him. They could have maced him. Instead, they put their knee on his neck and just sat on him and then carried on. I love this fucking like, oh man, they should have just tased or maced him. Like,
yeah, I wish they would have just tased my loved one.
Right, like that's how
maced him in the face.
I wish they just beaten him with a billy club. I wish they would have hit him, punched him, and kicked him instead of choking him or putting a knee on the back of his neck.
But sadly, in this case, that would have been a better outcome, probably.
Right. So I mean, like, it's pretty sad when you have to like wistfully like wish that they'd only tased or maced him. They treated him worse than they treat animals. He said. 4 off. I don't know. You see how some of these cops treat animals. 4 officers involved were fired Tuesday. The police department said, and the state and federal authorities are investigating the case. That includes Officer Derek Chauvin, the man seen on video restraining Floyd with his knee. Chauvin's attorney Tom Kelly said. Kelly said he wouldn't yet release a statement on Chauvin's behalf. No charges have been filed. The police officer's federal Federation of Minneapolis said in a statement that the officers were cooperating with the investigation and urged now is not the time to rush to judgment. While the officers' actions are examined. Oh man, yeah. I love that phrase in this instance, rush to judgment. Don't rush to judgment. Like the dude is kneeling on another dude's neck while the dude is like, I can't breathe, and the guy's just ignoring him and like casually just kind of like he has his hand in his pocket while he's doing it, like just cutting off the air circulation of another human being. But also, really, you look at that and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Well, don't rush to judgment, you know?
I mean, also kind of funny to hear "don't rush to judgment" coming out of the police force, who routinely decide that every black person they see walking around a neighborhood is a fucking burglar or rapist.
So blah, 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 blah. Minneapolis police said officers were responding to an alleged forgery Monday evening, and were told a person later described as the suspect was sitting on a car. They found Floyd, who at that point was inside the car, and police said he physically resisted after he got out. Officers handcuffed Floyd, who police said appeared to be suffering medical distress. He was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead, police said.
Yeah, if someone kneels down on your neck for like 10 minutes, that will happen. You will suffer physical distress. I can't breathe. Don't rush to judgment.
So I just gently crushed his neck with my entire body weight for about 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden he seemed to be in medical distress. You know what I'm saying, Your Honor? Must have had a pre-existing condition, you know.
Yeah, it must have been one of those weirdos allergic to having their windpipe crushed.
I don't know. Who could have predicted it?
They need to be charged with murder because what they did was murder, Brown told CNN. And almost the whole world has witnessed that because somebody was gracious enough to record it. George Floyd's sister, Bridget Floyd, told ABC on Wednesday that she also wants the officers arrested. The officers' firings are definitely not enough justice for me and my family, she told Good Morning America. I feel those guys need to be put in jail. They murdered my brother. A day after Floyd's death, hundreds gathered at the same intersection where he was pinned to the ground and later marched to a police precinct to protest. The protesters.
You know what, dude? We need to really take harsh measures against these fucking police officers. Let me tell you what needs to happen to them. They need to be immediately placed on 6 weeks paid leave right now.
Right this second. Well, they were fired. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing with these police unions and everything is that they're going to probably sue for their jobs back. I mean, maybe they won't get them back.
I would be surprised if there wasn't criminal charges filed, at least against Chauvin there.
I mean, they probably won't face charges, but they probably won't face murder charges.
I think he might, but
he might.
Every cop involved in this should be up on murder. If not murder 1, then of course murder 2 or accessory to murder.
I think that probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Probably accessory for the other guys, but I don't know if any charges will come of it. It seems like this stuff is being prosecuted a little bit more often these days, so I'm hopeful that this case will lead to another prosecution.
Well, what'll probably happen, so no one has to make a decision in the open, is a grand jury will make the decision of whether they should be charged.
Yeah, that grand jury shit needs to stop.
Which is of course done in secret.
Yeah, that's why it needs to stop, or it needs to just be made public so we know what actually happens. Anyway, it's real ugly. Protesters clash with Minneapolis police after George Floyd's death. Let's take a look at that.
Criminal mastermind.
It's going to play any audio for me. That'd be cool if it did.
In the video, you can see an officer kneeling on Floyd's neck, pinning him to the ground outside Cup Foods on Chicago and East 38th Street. Floyd died a short time later. Today, hundreds flooded the streets at that same intersection to protest Floyd's death. They then marched to the police station where the officers who arrested Floyd worked. Our team coverage begins tonight with Jeff Wagner. He joins us now from outside the Minneapolis Police 3rd Precinct, where a crowd is still gathered. Jeff?
Yeah, this crowd, I want to say comparative to about an hour ago, it's calmed down a bit, but then next thing you know, you start to hear the sound of tear gas being fired, flashbangs being fired. We've had what believes to be rubber bullets of sorts fly not far from us, hearing people get hit. There's still hundreds of people here who are actually standing right by the 3rd Precinct, right next to the officers. It's been a pretty chaotic scene starting about 6 p.m. tonight. A far cry from what it was earlier. Now, this all started at the intersection of 38th and Chicago. Thousands packed the area for the protest at 5 o'clock, but were also spread out to remain socially distant. Organizers emphasized keeping this protest peaceful. People took turns sharing their frustrations and grief with the
The cops aren't interested in it being peaceful.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy. The
cops-
police just can't seem to handle it. They just can't seem to fucking handle it.
They're there with
Remember
rubber bullets and
No, no,
fucking
no.
tear gas and shit.
And the comparison's already been made. Remember they literally went into the fucking Michigan fucking state house with fucking AR-15s and shit. And it was like, yeah, we got to respect these people's rights to protest. Hey, the police murdered someone. We're not happy about it. Tear gas, rubber bullets. Oh my God, get away, get away. It's like, what is going on here? You know, I mean, like, I understand that if they're like, if it was a mob that was like, we're here to kill these cops
here's the
or
thing.
something.
Maybe
But that's not what they're there for.
Maybe the police are a little bit more reluctant to use force on an army of armed thugs marching on the fucking Capitol building. You know what I mean?
What? Really?
Like, maybe these people should fucking arm themselves too. I don't know.
You know,
I
it's
think-
really hard for me.
I think it's
anymore
kind of
to-
a fucking deterrent at that point.
It's really hard for me anymore to comment on these fucking police stories because all I want to say is shit that's going to get our channel banned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I
So,
understand completely.
you know,
Well, you know,
whatever.
I'm so sick of the
This fucking cop is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I hope he goes to jail for the rest of his life. That's about as clean as I can make it. My actual idea for what should happen in Minneapolis right now is something that, once again, like, yeah,
use your
redacted.
imagination. Beep.
Yeah, we should've
I'm
beat
so
Paul.
I'm so sick of these stories. You know, I'm just sick of the cycle of them. You know, because it's like it's just like you know, when something happens over and over again in America, you can just predict exactly what's going to go down. You know, and it happens. It just unfolds exactly the same way, and it seems like we're powerless to break the cycle. It's like when there's a shooting, it's the same cycle. When there's one of these incidents where, you know, a cop kills a black person for no good reason, it's the same fucking cycle.
It's because we have no mechanism by which to break the cycle.
Right. There's the
we have to eat.
Yeah.
So it's just like we can't all walk out of our jobs and hit the streets until something changes because we got to eat.
There's a you know, but it's exactly the same, like Black Lives Matter trends, and then all lives matter trends to counter Black Lives Matter, and then there's protests in the
and you know
street,
you're gonna
and
hear
then the
about
cops
how
break
this,
it up, and you know.
And you know you're gonna hear. Oh, sorry, TJ.
No, go ahead.
I said, no, you're gonna hear probably if was there anything bad thing that George Floyd's ever done in his life, like he was a serial jaywalker, that will come out to justify his death.
You know what the great thing about that is?
Yeah, I love these conservatives that fucking.
I don't care if this guy was a multiple child murderer. He
Right.
shouldn't have had his head kneeled on in the middle of the street by an officer of the law until he choked to death.
But I mean, like,
Exactly.
that's the
not
thing.
how
Is
we
like,
do things in this country, right?
well, it is, but
It's not how
it's
justice
not supposed
is
to be.
supposed to be meted out in this country.
But you know, I mean, like, every time one of these guys, you know, gets killed by the cops, there, you know, we always do hear about, oh man, well, he wrote a bad check, like that's some justification for him being murdered in the fucking streets by the cops,
That's
or like,
because
oh
because
no,
there
he
are
fucking,
these-
he, you know. Oh, you know, 3 years ago he was fucking caught, you know, stealing fucking a candy bar from a gas station. Oh well, therefore, he deserved to
criminal.
die. He deserved to die. You know
Well,
how it goes.
That's because there are fascists and racists abound in this country who like when shit like this happens. So they always got to find a justification. Hey, you guys remember that George Floyd guys from a couple of months ago? Well, here's a mugshot. You know what I mean? And it's
Here
just
he
they
is
have to
posing
find some
with a gang
justification.
sign. You know, like, oh yeah, he deserved to die.
Yeah. Oh, here he is with a red do-rag hanging out of his back pocket. You know what I mean? They always have to find some justification for the system and its fucking abject brutality and racism. It always has to be excusable to these people. So fuck those people. You know what? That bleeped thing that should be happening in Minneapolis right now, any human being that isn't in Minneapolis that's on the side of the fucking oinkers in this case, you can add them to the bleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. I understand exactly where you're coming from. There's another little video here. I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know if I'll go full screen with it. Okay, hold on. Boom. Now it should. Really? Still not going to play?
I mean, it's playing.
It's playing, but there's no
Well,
sound.
the sound is probably just like music and ambient noise anyway. But you can kind of see some of the images here.
I mean, these people look like they are ready to explode.
Yeah,
at
like
any
I
moment.
feel like firing some kind of flashbang.
Look at that dog. Get the tanks.
Oh my God! They
Get
got
the fucking tanks.
They've trained attack dogs. It's time to kill them all.
Look at these people.
Oh my God! Tear gas.
Oh God!
We need some tear gas here.
God.
Holy shit!
Oh no!
Get the rubber bullets. Get the rubber bullets.
Extra rubber bullet. In fact, we might want to just use live rounds on these people.
When I said rubber bullets, I meant rubber bullets.
Use
You know what I'm saying?
live force has been authorized.
They look like they are ready to just tear the world down.
Look, they're holding their hands in the air.
Yep, hands are in the air.
Hands
are in
down. Hands down.
All
What
right.
are you doing?
Oh my God. These people look dangerous.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ! No! The social order is breaking down. Ah!
Please send in the police. Tear gas. Helicopters.
Would
stop.
someone fucking stop these
Fire
terrorists,
hoses,
please?
please.
Dear God, no! Get the hose! Get the hose!
You know, and I always like the justification that if one person in this giant group of people does anything unruly, it's like, oh, the protest turned unruly.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why a lot of the black bloc violence that's attributed to the quote unquote black bloc. I genuinely believe that in a lot of protests, those people are fucking plants. Where there's like 2 or 3 people rampaging around and breaking store windows and shit, so that it can undermine the narrative that's true that the protest was. There's sidewalk chalk on the fucking ground and shit.
I mean, look, it's a
This
known.
was not the Rodney King riots or some shit. There was no need for the fucking SWAT team.
There's no. I mean, look, it's a known tactic. Like it's been proven before that police departments engage in that sort of thing. If they want to break up a peaceful protest, they get a bunch of fucking plainclothes officers to fucking wear face masks and shit and be like, "You're anarchists. Go and fucking smash a few windows so we can justify anything we need to do to this crowd to disperse it."
Oh, look, this crowd's being dangerous. We got to take care of business here.
Happens
I mean, because
all the
look,
fucking time.
when there's an actual mob of people doing violence, it's apparent to everyone. It's not like a question of like, hey, what's going on there? I mean, it's pretty clear.
If you lived through the early 90s, you know exactly what an actual riot looks like.
Yeah, and the police pull out. They ain't fucking with that. That's
Right.
exactly what they did.
The cops make a wide perimeter around such things. There are no like 1 or 2 police officers firing rubber bullets into a crowd and shit during a fucking non-peaceful direct action. This was nothing like that. Nobody in 91? Nobody in the Rodney
there.
King shit, 91, 92. Nobody in 1991 was drawing, sidewalk chalk and bringing their puppies to peaceably assemble outside the fucking courthouse or the police office
Precinct.
and shit.
The LA riots.
It wasn't happening.
LA riots were 92.
92.
Okay. Here's a different story that's also kind of to do with race in America, but a little bit.
Dude, this woman is just ridiculous. This is one of the most ridiculous videos. I mean, just take a look.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if this is the video here.
Yeah, this is the video right here.
All right. So this is a woman who has her dog off a leash, and the situation escalates from there.
In Central Park.
We got no audio on this one too.
I changed the fucking setting. I don't know what the fucking problem is here.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off. Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking a picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops.
Please, that poor dog.
I'm gonna there's an African American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
An African American man's threatening your life.
How did he threaten your life?
I missed the part where he threatened your life. Actually, maybe that was before he started recording.
I've read
He seems
about
really
this.
calm right now, so it's like it's really weird that he would be like,
Well, I've read about this story. This guy said he like when he sees dogs off a leash, he carries dog treats to get the dog to run over to him, And then hopefully, he said usually because the owners don't want the dogs being fed by strangers, so they'll run over. And then this woman started just freaking out and was like, "You're trying to hurt me! Oh, you're trying to hurt me!" and all this other stuff that's coming now.
Then follow the leash law, dumbass.
Yeah, she's not following the and all I did was ask her to put the dog on a leash.
Excuse me?
She's choking that fucking dog, man.
Man, what?
Oh, guys,
Why does she have to hold the dog off its front fucking
Because she
paws?
Guys, I do have good news about that dog. The dog was from like a rescue operation, and the dog has been returned to them.
Okay, good.
Cool.
So yeah, that dog is no longer with this woman.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, this bitch is crazy. Like, she's strangling her dog. Like, all because she doesn't want the dog, like, walking up to some black dude. What the fuck?
Listen to the police when she's actually on the phone with the police. Listen to this part.
There is an African American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my. I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please.
Oh my god, and the Oscar goes too.
You're being threatened by a man as he stands like 30 feet away from you. He's not
And
doing
watches you
anything.
choke your dog to death. Yeah, what a dumb bitch.
Cops immediately. I'm in Central Park in the ramble. I don't know.
Thank you.
She put the dog on the leash, and then he's like, "All right, I'm done." It's fucking ridiculous.
Dude, you should not have your dog off a fucking leash unless you're at a dog park or
I'm in a
place that's
mood.
set up for that.
I'm in a mood today, man. The first opinions popping into my head are not safe for YouTube. They're just not. Watching that chick choke that dog made me want to do things that I can't even describe to you. I hate people that abuse their fucking animals. I cannot stand to watch people sit and choke a fucking innocent dog.
Well, listen to this here. It says within 24 hours, the woman identifies Amy Cooper, no relation to Mr. Cooper. Oh my God. Given up her dog, publicly apologized, been fired from her job. Mr. Cooper expressed regret for the extent of retribution. So even the dude that filmed this is like, damn, really?
Mr. Hooper, 57, a Harvard graduate who works in communications, has long been a prominent birder in the city.
Yeah,
I mean,
sounds dangerous to
like
me.
a bird watcher, and is
He
on
was
the
out
board
to
of the
watch birds.
New York City Audubon Society. The incident took place around 8:10 a.m. on Monday in the Ramble, a semi-wild section of Central Park where dogs are required to be on leashes at all times. After Miss Cooper refused to restrain the dog, Mr. Cooper said he planned to offer the dog treats to induce her to leash the animal so he wouldn't run for the treat, according to the Facebook post in which he documented his version of the exchange. Look, if you're going to do what you want, I'm going to do what I want, but you're not going to like it, he told her before he pulled out the treat and began filming, according to his post. Mr. Cooper then produced dog treats, he said. I pull out the dog treats I carry for just such intransigence, he wrote. Then when I started video recording with my iPhone and when her inner Karen fully emerged, it took a dark turn.
I feel bad because there's a lot of people out there named Karen.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? And they're not all like this.
Of course.
Most of them probably are, but not all.
Yeah, I mean, only 90%.
There's probably
It's
some
like-
good Karens in the world.
Don't you kind of dread that though? Oh, this guy's being a total Paul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your name, your like actual first name that you've had your whole life just becomes synonymous with some horrible, unlikable person that everybody hates.
Yeah, that guy just pulled a real Paul, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck, dude, let me change my name.
It's like Kingpin. Man, you really got Munsoned out here, didn't you? Munsoned? Yeah, it means getting fucked, man. Getting really fucking screwed over. Munsoned. You never heard of that?
I'm in the Ramble. There is a man. Yeah, we are. No, she said. I am one of the few African Americans who birds the Ramble regularly, he said. I have always been aware that I am crawling around behind a shrub trying to catch a glimpse of that rare bird holding a metal object in my hands. I will be perceived differently than a white man if the police come across that scene.
I just love the society we live in. I love the extra fucking precautions this poor dude has to take to do something totally innocuous as bird watching.
Yeah, let me go bird
Because one
watch.
of these fucking oinkers might come along and see his binoculars and think he has a gun and blow his fucking head off.
Sniper
It's so
rifle,
rid-
he's got a gun.
So ridiculous. Oh my god.
So Miss Cooper has publicly apologized in a statement and sought to explain her response. Yeah, okay, we know the reason for your response, bitch.
When Chris began offering treats to my dog, he confronted me in an area where there was no one else nearby and said, "You're not going to like what I'm going to do next." I assumed we were being threatened. When all he intended to do was record our encounter on his phone, Miss Cooper said. He had every right to request that I release my dog in an area where it was required. She continued, I am well aware of the pain that misassumptions and insensitive statements about race cause. This is written by some PR company she hired.
Totally,
and would never
for
have
sure.
imagined that I would be involved in the type of incident that occurred.
Yeah,
You're involved in that incident
there's
because you freaked
0%.
out.
There's zero humanity in these words, dude. This is like there's no genuine contrition here. This is like
her lawyer
yeah.
wrote this shit for sure.
this is like
On
stock
Monday evening,
PR
Miss
shit.
Cooper's employer, Franklin Templeton, said she'd been placed on leave while the incident was being investigated. By Tuesday afternoon, she had been fired.
Good.
Following our internal review of the incident in Central Park yesterday, we've made the decision to terminate the employee involved, effective immediately.
Dude, that is one positive thing about this like camera saturated surveillance state that we've got going on here, where we've all been like, they don't even really need to put cameras everywhere. We've all just agreed to be mobile surveillance operations because, you know what, like assholes and scumbags and cunts and fuckwads used to get away with shit like this all the time.
Not no
Like
mo.
Karen here, if this had happened in the 60s or 70s or something, she wouldn't have been fired
Or
had
80s
her
or 90s
dog
even.
taken away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nothing would have happened bad to her at all.
You know what she would have had? She would have had an outpouring of sympathy from people like, can't even walk in this park anymore.
Well, not only
Spirit
that, but the
elements
bitch
coming
would
to
have
this-
lied too.
Karen was
phone-
attacked in the
phone,
park.
the phone kept her honest.
Karen was attacked.
She saw that phone was on the whole time, and so she knew she had no fucking leg to stand on. But back in the 70s, when there was no camera being carried on everybody, it would have been, he approached me and he started making gestures towards his penis and unzipping his pants. And my little dog was going crazy, and then he kicked my little dog. You know what I mean? He would have done a bunch of shit he never did, and his ass would have been locked right the fuck up. Too.
Oh, yeah, you better believe it.
So kudos for the surveillance state. I guess.
Yay, surveillance state.
You
A
did
point
something
the
good for
surveillance
once.
state.
All right. Husband of Reopen North Carolina leader says he's willing to kill to stop New World Order. Good.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, instead of sitting and making a Facebook video in portrait mode, why don't you go get your gun and go do it then, you stupid bitch?
All right. So I'm not going to play the video because I'm having a little trouble with videos right now, but the husband of a Reopen North Carolina movement leader posted a video on Facebook Friday in which he said he is willing to kill people to protect the country against what he calls the New World Order. Adam Smith recorded the video while he was driving. Of course he did. He said that he hoped his children would look back at the time during the COVID-19 pandemic as a time when the U.S. resisted what he called the New World Order, a reference to the stay-at-home orders in North Carolina and most states. An American said, "No," said Smith, a Marine Corps veteran. "We're taking up arms. It's time for us to fight against this. We're not going to stop. If you want to go to the full force time, we have the forces to retaliate. And that's really, at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to secure our freedom is our willingness to step up and fight. Do we want to pick up arms? Do we want to kill anybody? Of course not. Nobody wants to take lives. We don't want to kill anybody, but we are willing. But are we willing to kill people? Are we willing to lay down our lives? We have to say yes. Is that violence? Is that terrorism? No, it's not terrorism. I'm not trying to strike fear in the hearts of people by saying, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to say, if you bring force, we're going to bring force. If you bring guns, we're going to bring guns. If you're armed with this, we'll be armed with this. Okay.
So an ever-escalating fucking confrontation.
How many of these dudes are there? Hey, everybody. It's here Adam Smith coming to you live from the cab of my Ford F-250 that's perfectly clean and has never towed a thing. I've got my $38 button-up from J.C. Penney's on, and I'm here to rant and rave about some stuff going on in the government. Well, I'll tell you what, it just gets my goat. You know, when Nancy Pelosi and all those other libtards up there on Capitol Hill want to pass a law to reach into my pocket, I say, no siree, Bob. Keep your hand out of my wallet, nasty Nancy. You know what I mean? Like these dudes are, and they're just like, there's like
Yeah.
literally 80,000 of those dudes making that same video right now.
Well, that's why this guy's got Paul. That's why his confidence, because he knows he has 80,000 other conspiracy nuts. They're gonna say the same bullshit. Like, yeah, we're gonna fight to defend the Constitution. Here's my thing: if you believe like of a sophisticated New World Order, you don't think they could beat you? The dude sitting in the fucking pristine F-250, they can't get to you. They can't find a way to have power over you if they actually exist. Like, you'd be nothing, dude. You'd be a fucking bug on the windshield of the New World Order. So you better be fucking happy they don't goddamn exist.
My wife loves driving my $65,000 F-250 to the strip mall. It's like, oh my God.
I hate, like, why do they all feel like, man, the best place to make a video in my truck, in my
Because
Jeep?
because they're proud of their truck. Because it's like a humble brag.
It's like, ooh, look at how nice my truck is.
I'm just so busy that I couldn't film this video anywhere other than the brand new pristine cab of my Ford F-250.
Well, just see if you can, even if you can't play in the audio, just see if you can see the, if he shows the vehicle at all.
I'm having trouble with the video.
It's just not working at all. Okay, well, never mind.
The video troubles are a little deeper than that. I'll talk to you about it afterwards.
Okay, fair enough. Well, no videos this time.
No videos today. Anyway, this guy's a retard. Rio Tinto blasts 46,000-year-old Aboriginal site to expand iron ore mine.
People keep blowing up fucking indigenous burial sites and shit. And I didn't even know this was coming up. And look who my avatar is right now. Do people never learn not to mess with Indian burial grounds and shit, man?
Oh, yeah. Poltergeists are coming. A sacred site in Western Australia that showed 46,000 years of continual occupation and provided a 4,000-year-old genetic link to present-day traditional owners has been destroyed in the expansion of an iron ore mine. The cave in Yukon Gorge at the Hammersley in the Hammersley Ranges, about 60 kilometers from Mount Tom Price, what a stupid mountain name, is one of the oldest in Western Pilbara, the Western Pilbara region, and the only inland site in Australia to show signs of continual human occupation through the last ice age. It was blasted along with another sacred site on Sunday. Mining company Rio Tinto received ministerial consent to destroy or damage the site in 2013 under WA's outdated Aboriginal heritage laws, which were drafted in 1972 in favor of mining proponents.
What?
1 year after consent was granted, an archaeological dig intended to salvage whatever could be saved discovered the site was more than twice as old as previously thought and rich in artifacts, including sacred objects. Most precious was a 4,000-year-old length of plaited human hair woven together from strands from the heads of several different people, which DNA testing revealed were the direct ancestors of Putu Kunti Kurama.
PewDiePie?
Yeah. And Pinikura, traditional owners living today. Being the outdated Aboriginal Heritage Act, but the outdated Aboriginal Heritage Act does not allow for a consent to be renegotiated on the basis of new information. So despite regular meetings with Rio Tinto, the Putu Kunti Kurama and Pinikura Aboriginal Corporation was unable to stop the blast from going ahead. It's one of the most sacred sites in the Pilbara region. We wanted to have that area protected, PKKP Director Burshel Hayes told Guardian Australia, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, they didn't get their way.
I mean, look, I don't think anything's sacred, but it looks like there was a lot of sociological and just human history that was at the site that could have been of vital importance to study. And obviously, it mattered a great deal to the group of people living there. So I don't really understand how you can fucking... You can
Scotty,
quit living in the past. We need that iron ore.
I thought you, of all people, would be red-pilled on this, Scotty. You know as well as I know that nothing but some busted-up pottery and maybe an arrowhead was going to come out of this. But look. I don't want to seem heartless. I feel bad for the Puntu, Shuntu, Pentu, Tentu people, all right?
whatever. This place is it's a nice little ridge they like to go visit. But I got to tell you what, progress, baby, has got to move forward. And that means that old pile of dog shit over there had to be bulldozed under. I guarantee you, the Kunta Kinte Pinte Tintes are going to love what we build on this land a whole lot more than a bunch of old dusty bones.
Is it officially a 90s movie villain?
We need that ore, Scotty. Next time you're fucking, using some iron ore, you're gonna you're gonna be grateful.
I'm using that iron ore just, for my own ends.
Yeah, you're gonna be grateful. Next time you fucking go get your little fucking, iron ore toenail clippers or whatever you got, you'd be like, oh man, I'm sure glad they destroyed that sacred site.
You know what?
Man.
Are you telling me I'm not gonna have luxury iron ore made toenail clippers?
Yeah.
Blow the fucking site up now. Why
blow
they
it
wait?
up. Blow it up.
No, don't blow it up. Don't blow it up. Rope off 17,000 acres so that you might pull half of a bottom of an old fucking glass jar out of there or something. Oh, look at what they did. Oh, look at this bead we found up there at Punta Mountain. You know what I mean? Or we could all have some fucking oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it.
There was an oil on the site.
There's oil. Right. No, there's oil now. Fuck iron ore. It's oil. They got oil there. Oil in them there hills, boy.
He's just like, you know what? Oil, whatever. I don't know what I'm shilling, but just blow up the fucking site
Just
already.
blow it up. There's something. There's got to be some gold, some oil, some ore. I don't know.
I gotta make some fucking money.
There's something. I don't give a shit if it's just limestone. Just give me some fucking limestone.
Even if there's nothing under there, blow this fucking thing up. You know what I mean? Because it's all littered with all these, pieces of pots and old bones and, cave paintings and shit. It's ugly as fuck. Blow this thing up and make a new mountain out of it. You know what I mean?
Flatten it out. Put a fucking mall.
Bulldoze it just because.
Just for fun. Let's just see how flat we can make the land around it.
Oh, I bet I could flatten the fuck out of that land. Let me tell you what.
Ooh, yeah. Flatten it good.
But I might accidentally run over a scrap of old cloth or something. You know what I mean? Real important to human history.
Don't it always seem to go?
When I'm doing that kind of character, I'm channeling that dude from Falling Down. You remember the dude that owned the pawn shop?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, now these boots here are Forestry Service approved, guaranteed not to crush a chipmunk if you step on it. Now, you know what I mean? He's always like, he's against everything that's good for the world.
Yeah,
I love it.
20-year-old beating suspect was moved to nursing home because he has COVID-19, says father. I don't understand.
Okay, wait a minute. Can you read that headline one more time?
Yeah, I don't get it. 20-year-old beating suspect was moved to nursing home because he has COVID-19, says father.
Oh no, dude.
All right, let's
read the article.
We need to dive deeper into this. Relatives of the 75-year-old man who was brutally beaten inside the Westwood Nursing Center began to suspect something was wrong because they couldn't get in touch with him, and they said neither could staffers at the Veterans Hospital. What they now know is that, for some reason, the Army veteran was taken from his apartment in Detroit to the Westwood Nursing Center on Schaefer on the city's west side, and that is where the senior citizen was assaulted by another patient, a 20-year-old man, who was arrested Thursday after video of the beating went viral. After seeing the video, the victim's family says they were horrified and are now trying to process what happened and gather information. The Army veteran is now in a local hospital. The suspect's father, who asked not to be named, said his son has mental health issues and a pending assault case in Washtenaw County and should never have been placed in a nursing home. He has issues, and for them to put him in a facility like that, nothing good was going to happen, the suspect's father told 7 Action News. He said his son was recently moved to the nursing center because the 20-year-old was diagnosed with COVID-19 at the University of Michigan Hospital. The father said he's been working with the Washtenaw County Mental Health Services to get his son the help he needs, and that he was placed in a group home in Chelsea. But recently, he said his son began hearing voices, and that's when he was taken to the hospital, and it was there he says his son was diagnosed with COVID-19. he never should have been housed, quarantined with the victim that he eventually assaulted. That never should have happened, he said. Someone dropped the ball. That's not a ball drop, okay?
Yeah.
That's-
There's dropping the ball, and then there's tripping and
You just, like-
accidentally launching the nuke. You know what I mean?
You just nuked the fucking whole field of play. I mean, what the fuck? So, like, hey, here's a mentally unbalanced, fucking schizophrenic 20-year-old who's hearing voices telling him to, like, kill or whatever, and he has COVID-19. Let's put him in a nursing home full of fucking old, vulnerable veterans and shit. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who the fuck thought
Like,
that was a good idea.
This is like,
yeah, this guy's a little crazy. Let's put him in a room with a 75-year-old man.
And
This
he
will
has
turn out
COVID.
just fine.
if this thing about him having COVID-19 is true, like, even like if he wasn't mentally fucking deranged, why would you put someone with COVID-19 with a bunch of old people unless you were trying to kill the old people? Like, all right, we need to clear out some room on the fucking, we need to clear out some fucking room in this veterans ward. So,
No cough on everybody.
I know this 20-year-old that has COVID-19. We'll
you
get
know
him in
what it
there. He'll
was?
cough on all the old people.
TJ, you figured it out, dude. They went to this fucking 20-year-old guy and like the voices told us you have to kill off these old people. Just go cough on them. Hurt them real bad. But he's crazy, so he's like hurt him real bad. So he just beats the shit out of the dude, not realizing all they want him to do was cough on people. That's all they wanted him to do.
I don't even know like what level of systemic failure had to happen for this to go down. This is insane. This would be like, all right, we caught the notorious Jeffrey Dahmer. Where do we house this guy? I know. Let's take him to that local elementary school and just throw him in with the kindergarten class. Yeah, just let him hang out with the kindergartners while we decide what to do with this guy. Like, what? What happened?
Well, the
Anyway.
answer is there's nowhere to put mentally ill people.
This just-
as far as like an actual treatment facility, so they just get shoved into jails. Or
I hate
prisons or
to say
hospitals
it,
or nursing homes.
but America needs to bring back the asylums. Now, I agree that they need to be humanely run. You know what I mean? I don't want them to be horrible torture zones, but there needs to be a place for people who are mentally ill and a danger to themselves and others to go and get treatment. You
Absolutely.
know, like we shouldn't have to be throwing them in with people's grandparents.
Yeah, it's
There's
weird.
no other solution. I mean, it's clear that society has failed.
No, this
at least
is,
our society has failed to deal with this issue. So it's just they're getting thrown in with vulnerable people, or being placed in places where they're vulnerable, like a prison.
This is not. I mean, this goes beyond like, oops. This to me, like it maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like I'm just underestimating the incompetence of humanity and shit. But
You are.
this really just seems like this has to be like intentionally malicious on the part of somebody.
Oh, you think it was like on purpose?
TJ, you live in a country that if you bought a list of people over 75 and called them up one by one and said, your grandson's hurt, send money now. Eventually you'd probably, and it probably wouldn't take you that long to run into someone that goes, okay, leave it at the bus depot, 20 grand. If you ever want to see him alive again. Otherwise the internet pirates are going to kill him. And you're wondering like, hey, are people in America really just that dumb? They are that dumb. Or TJ, you know what the other possibility is? They understand the risk, but they're like, ain't nowhere else for him to go. That's our job. We were told to put him here. Put him here. That's it.
Yeah,
What the fuck are they going to do? There's the fucking cog in the machine.
I feel like when you make a decision, like I think this fucking mentally ill 20-year-old with COVID-19 needs to be put in a nursing home full of old people. I feel like there's some maliciousness
gonna
on
put
your
him?
part. Where else are they
Jail?
going to put him? Like literally anywhere else. You
No,
know
but,
what I mean?
but I'm saying to you, but
Like you
where-
literally
but
put him
like,
in the
within
worst
bounds of
possible
what,
place.
of what exists now, where are they going to put him?
I don't know. Somewhere
This-
else, like not there. I can tell you that
I
much.
agree with you. That's not a good idea, but I'm just saying, like, that's probably
It's not-
honestly the decision that they're faced
That goes
with. It's
so
like,
far
this is how you
beyond
guys are end
not.
up.
That goes well beyond not a good idea. This is like, hey, where are we gonna keep this ravenous Wolverine? I know.
Put him in the chicken coop.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm not saying that's the problem with the system in general, is that this is probably the normal procedure, And normally, if the guy was just like, not really a danger, like a super dangerous person, it would have worked out. But it's just one of the times where you get the incompetency and inefficiency of the system is revealed.
I've
By
never
the
heard
fact
of
this guy fucking was put in with a 75-year-old dude and he had COVID-19 and he beat the shit out of him.
I've never heard of a normal procedure where you take someone who is either mentally deranged or who has a disease that primarily kills old people.
And
then you put them in a nursing home. That doesn't make any sense. That's not
just,
any
like-
sort of
like, I just wanna
procedure that
believe
exists on the books anywhere that I know of.
Well, I mean, you don't know that functions to begin with. You've never had some sort of government position or job.
I'm pretty
You don't
sure
really know.
there's no official policy of like, hey, you have a deadly infectious disease. Let's put you in a nursing home with those most vulnerable.
He might not have been symptomatic. I don't know. But the thing is that I'm not saying it makes sense, but I'm saying I don't see, like, how else do you come to the conclusion to put someone like this there?
I
mean,
feel
it
like
has
there
to
was
be
some
just
psycho that was like, let's put him in the nursing home and see what happens.
But where's your evidence for that?
Just the fact that there's no other thought process that could lead to
evidence is the
this.
incompetency of government. Your evidence is some fucking conspiracy.
Well, my
that-
evidence
actually
is the
non-existent.
malicious
Your evidence is
nature of
non-existent.
man.
Your evidence is non-existent. That's the
TJ
fucking
thinks the
evidence.
Joker did it.
Yeah, basically.
I know just the place for you, boy.
It does seem
You're
like
gonna
something the
do
Joker
good
would do,
work
man.
Inside. Yeah.
I think the Joker did it. That's my fucking official theory on
okay.
this one. Because I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that incompetence exists on this level. Maybe it
think you
does.
should.
What do
I
we
think you
have
should.
here? A medical chart. Oh, it says
What
he's.
were you saying? You don't
said
believe
he's-
incompetence exists on this level? And then read the headline for this, TJ.
This is actually more competent than that. At least there's some. Okay, you know what? With the 3 young brothers who let the Black Widow spider bite them in the hopes of turning into Spider-Man, I at least understand the thought process behind that. Hey,
Darwin Awards.
hey, look.
Yeah, they're
if you-
fucking retarded. That's the process.
Well, but
dude.
yeah, but but you can get in that mindset and be like, hey, if the spider bites me, I'll become Spider-Man
Okay,
because
maybe
I
you
saw
can
that.
get in that
in your
mindset.
life, did you ever actually think that, TJ?
No,
Let's just be
never.
honest.
But I understand it.
Even when you were a dumb little kid, like these fucking kids, you
Yeah,
were
but
like,
you
"Let
understand.
a Black Widow bite me and I'll become Spider-Man."
But
First,
you
number one,
understand what they're
those kids
thinking.
Did not fucking, those kids did not see that fucking spider look radioactive. It wasn't like it was like glowing or something.
Yeah,
it
the
wasn't like they were in a
spider's supposed to be
fucking scientific
radioactive,
lab.
kids. So wait till you at least gotta expose it to some radiation first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dude.
So they don't know shit about Spider-Man, dude.
Let me tell you, TJ. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Ninja Turtles. And
Uh-huh.
me and my friend John used to run around and make mutagen, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Because we wanted to turn into Ninja Turtles. And the mutagen was like pond water and like pond scum and mud. You know what I mean? And we'd mix it all up and we'd pretend like, oh man, I feel like I'm changing. You know what we never did? Like jumped into a pit of scorpions to become Scorpios or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It never had. No, you don't. This is somewhere along the line. Some parents failed here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
Dude.
all I'm saying
Okay,
is
so-
the last story, I don't even understand the thought process behind putting that guy where they put him. This, I at least understand the stupid fucking process behind this decision. So
Okay, TJ.
okay, I guess I'm crazy. Whatever.
You are.
What I'm saying makes complete sense to me, but I guess I'm a
Well,
fucking nut
of course
job.
it's gonna make sense to you. Like you're the one defending that position. What makes
Well,
sense to me?
where does it break
Well,
down? Where does it
I'm
break
right,
down,
TJ.
faggot? Huh?
Well, I'm right.
Where's it break down?
Where does it break down?
Yeah.
Okay. But God, TJ.
Where's it break down?
Let me explain to you.
Yeah, explain it to
Okay.
me.
Okay. We'll explain it very slowly.
Yeah,
in terms of
explain
you
it
can
as
hopefully
slowly as you want.
understand.
No, come on, bring it fast. I want to hear it.
You're okay. You're arguing
Uh-huh.
this. So if you well, look, number one, stop interrupting. And shut the fuck up.
I ain't interrupting
Number
shit.
two.
Go ahead.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Go.
You're arguing that some Joker-esque figure appeared and put the fucking mentally ill schizophrenic person, which, by the way, you've said have been stigmatized from being violent and are not largely not violent. And
Well,
less
clearly
violent
that one
than
was.
most
He
people.
beat the shit out of an old man.
Yeah, no, but okay, he beat the shit out of an old man, correct?
Uh-huh.
But what you're positing for that is a rogue figure decided to put them into close proximity, hoping that this chaos would ensue,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the system is so fucked up and incompetent, it just made this really bad decision based on a policy or procedure or just some bureaucrat just saying, fuck it, just put him here.
Okay.
Let's just be done with it.
Let me go through.
And then you're saying the thought process of letting 3 kids let a spider bite them. It's like, one, if they, obviously they know about Spider-Man, and they know that Spider-Man was bitten by a radioactive spider, or like whatever. I don't know how that's presented in other countries, but magical spider bit them, and they're just out herding goats, and then they see a spider, and it's like, we're not gonna understand because then the spider bites them. It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. One, they saw it in a fucking movie.
Right.
Doesn't mean that it's realistic in any fucking way.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously. Am I sitting here right now arguing that the spider really was going to give them Spider-Man powers? Is that what I said? Did I fall asleep and say that? No. What I said was, no. I let you talk. It's my turn to talk now. What I'm saying is, in the last story...
TJ, you're so smart, TJ.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck you then, bitch.
Oh, TJ's so smart.
I'm supposed to not interrupt you, but then the second I start talking, you gotta interrupt, because you can't stand the fact that maybe I got a fucking point, bitch.
Oh, you're brilliant.
All right, I'm just muting you guys and talking on my own. Fuck you. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. I can't hear you no more. You're muted. You're fucking muted, bitch. You're muted. No one can hear you. No one can hear you. All right. They're pieces of shit, man. They're both pieces of shit. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them down there. They're both little pieces of shit. All right. What I fucking said was, in the last story, there is no logic by which it makes sense to put. There is no logic. Okay, well, then you explain it to me. When I'm going to fucking lay it out.
Go ahead.
You explain to me. There's a fucking dude who's mentally unstable, who has COVID-19, and they put him in a nursing home. I do not understand. There is no logic.
There's a logic to it.
No matter how stupid it is, that makes sense to me.
There's a logic to it.
Now, hold on.
Whatever bureaucrat had to deal with this problem, they probably had to find a place for this person to be. And that was probably the only answer they got, was they had to go to this nursing home. And that's where they put him. Like, see, they don't have a plethora of options where, like, this guy can just go to a luxury fucking resort. There's not mental health facilities he can go to. There's very few in most states, especially if people have no money. This is probably the only viable solution until he had committed a crime, and then it's jail, which is where a lot of these people end up because they have no other choice.
There are hospitals that have fucking mental wards and shit still. I know we don't have the most robust mental health care system in this country, but there are other places he can be put.
There's a logic to it. There's no logic.
There's no logic. There's no logic to it whatsoever.
There is.
There's no justification for it.
Yes, there is.
There is no justification for putting a mentally ill COVID-19 person with old people in a fucking nursing home.
Yes, there is.
You'd be better off taking him out back and shooting him in the fucking head.
No. Look, he's still alive. He was assaulted, and luckily he's okay. I'm glad he's okay. I'm not happy he got assaulted, but there was a logic to it.
I don't agree there was any logic to it, even by the dumbest standards possible. But whatever. So anyway, some Bolivian kids let a spider bite them because they thought they'd become Spider-Man. They're retarded. The end.
Dude, that was great.
Bunch of goat herding motherfuckers. All right.
Dude, TJ, Scotty just fucking played you like a harp from hell for about 6 straight minutes, dude.
Oh, yeah, okay. I got angry, therefore lose.
You were trolled so hard, TJ.
You know what?
Oh, man. Oh, boy, that was beautiful to watch. I want somebody to clip that mic shove because you went Andre the fucking Giant there for a second. He shoved his mic all out, and I'm surprised you didn't rip your shirt off, TJ. That would have been.
You to get to the car. I'm coming for you, Scotty. You can run and you can hide, but I will find you.
This is the lamest fucking trolling ever. Oh yeah, I said dumb things until you got pissed off. Therefore, it's awesome. Love it.
Okay, TJ. All right, buddy.
Okay.
Calm down, TJ.
I'm calm.
Simmer down.
I'm calm.
TJ.
Look at me. My hand
leave the past.
My hand
in the past,
is still.
TJ.
See.
The past is the past, man.
Look how
Rock steady.
Look how calm I am.
Rock
All
steady.
right.
TJ.
So Trump's a moron. Washington President Trump President Trump's threat to shut down
hold on.
social media companies.
Take it
Yeah.
from the top, TJ.
No. Fuck you. We're plowing
President
through.
Trump-
On we plow. After Twitter, anyway, Trump said he's going to shut down Twitter. This is the fucking point. Let's just look at the tweets. Fuck this article. Republicans feel that social media platforms totally silence conservatives' voices. We will strongly regulate or close them down before we ever allow this to happen. We saw what they attempted to do and failed in 2016. We can't let a more sophisticated version of that happen again. Just like we can't let large-scale mail-in ballots take root in our country. It would be a free-for-all on cheating, forgery, and the theft of ballots. Whoever cheated the most would win. Likewise, social media, clean up your act now.
Look, dude, say
go
what
ahead.
you want to say about this, but I got to tell you, man,
Uh-huh.
just listening to Trump talk about shutting down Twitter, dude, my bussy is one of the wettest from the standpoints of water right now, dude. I want Trump to shut down Facebook and Twitter so bad I can taste it. I want to watch people go insane. Oh my God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
The only problem with that is the place where I usually go to watch people go insane would be the place that they'd be closing down. So
and by the way, the reason for this, in case anyone needs further context, is Trump basically wrote a screed against mail-in ballots because, of course, if there's a high turnout for an election, that doesn't bode well for Republicans, which he doesn't like that.
Right.
So basically, he did this giant screed, fuck mail-in ballots, it's going to be rife with fraud and corruption and cheating and all this shit. And then Twitter basically fact-checked his tweets and appended like a get the facts about mail-in ballots to the bottom of his tweets. And then he's like, my freedom of speech is being silenced or whatever because he's a fucking retard. But
But they didn't silence him.
oh no, but they corrected him.
mention,
That's as bad
how
as
many-
that's as bad as silencing him, Scotty.
Well, how many people, in addition to that, liked and retweeted that? There was prominent conservatives also agreeing with that or chiming in, but saying they're being censored at the same time. It's like, look, they said that it was misleading because the statements he has made are misleading. No one said this. They're not silencing his freedom of speech, which obviously they're a private company, and many people already agree that they'd be well within their rights to do so. But they've let him stay on the platform. They just appended a thing that said, "Hey, these are the reasons why," or this is the factual information about this. They haven't in any way silenced him.
I mean, the link that they provided, they didn't silence him, but they basically just shit on him.
Yeah,
like
they're
the
basically
link
like, yeah, you're full of
the
shit.
link that they provided invalidates his tweet. It makes it, and it basically implicitly calls him a liar, accuses him of spreading misinformation, and so he's
Well, he
butthurt
is,
about
and
it.
he does.
No,
so
he
I-
is.
yeah, so I agree with it. I mean,
I
like,
hope they
look,
start. I hope they start doing it to every Trump tweet, and this escalates, and Trump actually does close Twitter. Oh my fucking God! I hope that happens.
Yeah, I don't. But you
Well,
know.
well, because you love Twitter.
Oh yeah, not only do I love Twitter, but also, like I guess it'd be funny from the standpoint of like he's sitting there complaining about his free speech being violated, and then he's shutting down shit that he doesn't like.
Hilarious.
But I guess I could get with the irony of that. But
There's plenty of other places you can go practice your free speech than Twitter. Twitter is
It's not
just a
gonna
blip on
shut
the
down.
radar.
it's not getting shut down.
But if it did, dude, trust me, it wouldn't be a blip on humanity's radar in the
Oh.
long run if Twitter got fucking shit canned. Trust me.
Oh, definitely not. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, look, Trump has a way too big of an audience on Twitter just to fucking shut it down. Come on.
And Twitter as it stands right now, I understand the argument you're making. You're like, oh man, it's gonna stifle in free speech, and I'm a free speech absolutist, and I don't like that, dude. There ain't no fucking free speech going on Twitter right now, anyway. There's corporate speech going on Twitter. You got to conform to their little rules and shit. If you step out of line, say something we don't like, you banned. You've been banned and censored how many fucking times on that
oh
platform?
yeah, well every
Fuck
platform,
that platform. It's a shit rag. I hope our orange, dementia-ridden, diaper-wearing, obese, can't golf to save his ass president fucking literally just pulls the plug on this whole website.
He doesn't.
Fuck
have-
Twitter.
I don't think he has the power, but we'll see.
Oh, believe me, TJ, he knows power. And Trump has tremendous power.
He's going
Fire
down,
and
though.
fury.
He's going down. Look at this. Who is Carolyn Gomble? Why Justice for Carolyn is trending on Twitter. What's going on here? The hashtag Justice for Carolyn started trending on Twitter after God, one of the most popular parody accounts on the social media site, tweeted out the following. message to its 6.1 million followers. Donald Trump killed his personal assistant, Carolyn Gombel, in October 2000. He strangled her because he'd gotten her pregnant and was threatening to tell the press, and she was threatening to tell the press. Then he bribed NYPD Police Chief Bernie Kerik to cover it up. It's time to investigate #Justice for Carolyn. A string of subsequent tweets asserted a number of facts to support the claim. Fact, Carolyn Gumbel's mother has an audio recording of her daughter the night before she was killed. If something happens to me, it was Donald. Fact, forensics at first tentatively matched the residual thumbprints found on Carolyn's neck as matching Trump's own small hands, but that finding was later amended and officially ruled inconclusive. Fact, in his 2009 biography, One Good Cop, Kerik referred to a certain well-known real estate magnate for whom he had made certain inconvenient facts disappear. By the way, it's also interesting that Carolyn's New York roommate, Michelle Weitz, committed suicide by jumping in front of a subway train not 2 weeks later. If Donald Trump was able to murder Carolyn Gumbel and cover it up, how many other women has Trump murdered so that we don't even know about? We need an investigation now. Justice for Carolyn.
Damn.
Blah, 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 blah.
Trump is busted on this one. Just kidding.
Yeah, so this is there was no fucking Carolyn Gumbel. This is basically, I guess this is probably a response to Trump's tweets about Joe Scarborough, right?
Right.
Yeah, because Joe Scarborough, when he was in he was in Congress or the Senate or whatever, I think he was in Congress.
Congress, yeah.
He had an intern die at one of his offices. She supposedly tripped and hit her head on a desk and died. But there was like, conspiracy shit about maybe Joe Scarborough himself killed her. I don't know why. I don't know why the finger automatically goes towards Joe Scarborough, because I mean, like, there was other people at that office. I presume it wasn't just him.
Well,
and
because
her,
it's politically expedient for Trump to point the finger at
Joe
Joe Scarborough
must
because he's
have
an
done
opponent.
it. Right. And I'm sure that if Joe Scarborough was Trump's buddy that supported him, then this would be
you'd never hear anything about
this
it.
would be ridiculous to even think
And
about.
if anybody brought it up, he'd be like, "That was a horrible tragedy that happened there." And I know Joe. Trust me, Joe. Nobody was hurt more by that than Joe.
So here's the opening of a cold case against psycho Joe Scarborough was not a Donald Trump original thought. Has been going on for years, long before I joined the chorus. In 2016, when Joe and his wacky future ex-wife Mika would endlessly interview me, I would always be thinking, I don't buy this, because I don't buy that Trump was ever thinking.
Trump was always thinking.
I don't think you ever think. So not all. Yeah, you definitely don't always think. Yeah, but I guess Trump's been trying to make some political hay out of this. Joe Scarborough murdered his intern thing for a while, and with that we conclude the pleb section of the show.
All right, plebs, listen. It's time for you scurvy swags to walk the plank. For here on out, you're no longer allowed on this ship. Only Davy Jones' locker awaits you.
Join the Patreon. Bye. All right. Hey, real audience, how y'all doing? Only 49% of Americans would get COVID-19
Ahoy,
vaccine.
real audience.
Okay, there we go. A little delayed, but all right.
It's me,
Okay.
Captain Salty Slartworth,
Right.
terror of the seven seas. ready to commentate on the news for ya.
Okay. Only 49% of Americans would get COVID-19 vaccine should effective one be discovered, poll finds.
I've got your vaccine for the COVID. Get a good slug of rum and suck it up and get back on the yardarm, swabby, before I make you walk the plank.
You really like making people walk that plank, huh?
If you had a plank, would you not want to make someone walk it? You want a plank that no one ever walks?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have. If you're gonna get a plank, I mean, if you're gonna go through all the trouble of having a plank,
yeah, walk the fucking plank.
A new poll found only 49% of America. I mean, like that's the story. I mean, what are you gonna say?
Well, if you go down, it says 20% of people would just refuse it. They're just like, nope, I don't care if it keeps me safe. I don't care if it works. I refuse it outright.
I guess there's 31% that like, maybe I'd do it. So that's
possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I might.
I don't know.
What is? I don't
Because
know.
vaccines are dangerous. That's what it is. You have people that are just convinced that any vaccine is bad.
20% of people legitimately. Well, you know, a lot of this has to do too. I don't know if you guys know this, but like there was a poll not too long ago of Republicans that asked them, you know, like, do you think Bill Gates is gonna like put like nanobots in the vaccine? And like, I think like 40 some crazy amount of Republicans are like, yep. Definitely going to be fucking nanobots in the Bill Gates vaccine, so you can't take that. And only like 30% were like sure that wasn't going to happen. So, or no, it wasn't even 30. It was like 26. 26% of Republicans know that Bill Gates is not going to put nanobots in the fucking vaccine.
But nanobots.
Yeah.
These people are living in a fucking fantasy novel.
I know. Like, we don't even have that shit yet, you dumb
nanobots.
fucks.
Says you.
I mean, we got some limited nanotechnology, but nothing that's like they're not able to put it in a vaccine and inject it like, oh, now it controls me or whatever the fucking shit you think it's gonna do.
Because look, they know what's gonna happen. And in one side they march people in to get the vaccine, and out the other side goes a bunch of compliant sheep.
The
that
drones
disagree with the government. I love Bill Gates. Windows 10 is great. Obey the government. Obey the government.
I love the government.
The herd is not being culled in a long time, TJ. The human herd needs a culling. You know, back before humans, like a yak baby was born and it was all misshapen and stupid and you know, like the yaks would leave it behind.
Yeah.
And there would be no more yak. But you know what we do with those yak babies? We raise them. And then they become Republicans and shit. You know what I mean? They become Republicans and they sit and, you know, you go, hey, we got this vaccine for you and your children that'll prevent this horrible, deadly disease. And they go, no. You know, because it's like the herd is, you know, it's not being called anymore, TJ.
Yeah, poor herd.
We got to trim the wick a little bit. You know what I mean?
The virgins.
Nature will do it for us eventually.
And the whirlwind is in the thorn tree. All right. FBI cannot even look at your phone lock screen without a warrant. Judge rules, or rules judge, which I guess amounts to the same thing. The FBI broke the law when it switched on a suspect's phone to look at his lock screen without a warrant, ruled a judge. Thanks, a judge. It said it was gathering evidence from a lock screen constitutes a search, and doing this without a warrant violates the Fourth Amendment, which prohibits unreasonable search and seizure. The ruling was made by Judge John Kaufner in a district court in Seattle. Blah, 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 blah. Judge Kaufner ruled that the police were within their right to look at the lock screen at the time of Sam's arrest, as there are circumstances in which a search can be made at the time of an arrest without a warrant. Investigators conducting a search later, however, need a warrant, said the judge. The police's examination took place either incident to a lawful arrest or as part of the police's efforts to inventory the personal effects found during his arrest. Blah 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 blah. FBI physically intruded on Mr. Sam's personal effects when the FBI powered on his phone to take a picture of the phone's lock screen. See United States versus Jones, some case numbers and stuff, and some other cases. The FBI therefore searched the phone within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. See Jardines, another case. And because the FBI conducted the search without a warrant, the search was unconstitutional.
Cool.
This means the FBI cannot view the lock screen of your phone unless its agents actually carried out the arrest and did so at the time, or unless they get a warrant.
When called for comment, the FBI said, don't worry, we're going to continue to look at not only the lock screen, but everything on the phone with warrant or no. You know, no worries there. I mean, whatever. This is a nice decision to have, but let's be frank here. They're gonna continue right on doing this shit.
I mean, look, this is not even that much of an impediment to them. Like, even if they want to, even if they're gonna follow the letter of the law, all they have to do is be like, yeah, go call Judge Malloy and get that warrant for us real quick.
Right.
And actually make the arrest in person, and then just as part of their investigation.
Well, they don't even need. I mean, they just be like, yeah, we need that warrant.
Well, you got to be on. You got to understand though. There are certain times where you want to do shit like this in a clandestine way, where there's no paper trail, and I guarantee you the FBI is doing that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if they want to do it
All
in
over
that
the
context,
place.
they'll just do it and fucking make up some shit later. They'll get a warrant retroactively if they need to. They don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, Judge Malloy issued that warrant fucking 3 days ago. You know?
Right.
I mean, these guys are all fucking in cahoots with one another. This ain't gonna protect shit. An avalanche of evictions could be bearing down on America's renters. Yay.
That sounds unpleasant.
Euclid, Ohio. The United States, already wrestling with economic collapse not seen in a generation, is facing a wave of evictions as government relief payments and legal protections run out for millions of out-of-work Americans who have little financial cushion and few choices when looking for new housing. The hardest hit are tenants who had low incomes and little savings, even before the pandemic, and whose housing costs ate up much more of their paychecks. They were also more likely to work in industries where job losses have been particularly severe. Temporary government assistance has helped, as have government orders that put evictions on hold in many cities. But evictions will soon be allowed in about half of the states, according to Emily A. Benfer, a housing expert and associate professor at Columbia Law School who is tracking eviction policies. I think we will enter into a severe renter crisis very quickly, Professor Benfer said. Without a new round of government interventions, she added, we will have an avalanche of evictions across the country. That means more and more families may soon experience the dreaded eviction notice on the front door, the stomach-turning knock from the sheriff's deputies, the possessions piled up on the sidewalk. They will face displacement at a time when people are still being urged to stay at home to keep themselves and their communities safe. That fear has been eating away at Sandy Nafa ever since she lost her income as the virus led to economic shutdowns. Miss Nafta, who had been juggling 2 part-time jobs, teaching elementary school students how to read and working as a beauty consultant at the mall, quickly fell behind on the $800 she pays in rent each month for a 1-bedroom apartment in Euclid, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland. She is now staring down a precarious future, desperately hoping that a one-off federal stimulus check and unemployment benefits, which she has yet to receive, will keep her afloat and stave off eviction. It's a ticking clock, she said. I can't continue going on this way, otherwise I will be out on the street. In many places, the threat has already begun. The Texas Supreme Court recently ruled that evictions could begin again in the nation's second-largest state. In the Oklahoma City area, sheriffs apologetically announced that they plan to start enforcing evictions notices this week. Oh, well, at least it was apologetic, right?
Business as usual. The country's opening back up, whether or not the coronavirus is a threat or not, whether or not it matters to anyone, because, look, the economy's hurting. And I mean, look, this is evidence that people use to that favor. Like, look, these people aren't rich. They need to work. They need jobs. They need to pay their bills. And look, we have to keep enforcing the system. We keep having to. We're gonna have to go and take these people's property. We're gonna have to kick them out and throw them on the street. We have to do it. Sorry. And what's the federal government's response gonna be? Because I'll tell you what's really gonna start happening is after July, because they haven't renewed that unemployment. So a lot of people are gonna stop getting that, or they're gonna be getting nowhere near enough. Like 200 in this state, it's like $250 is the max you get in Louisiana per week. It's a fucking joke.
Nobody, pandemic or no pandemic, should face this ever. The fact that we live in a society where this is what's at the end of the road for a lot of people. It's like you fall on hard times. You've got just this little collection of stuff in a little place, and a dude with a gun shows up at your house and kicks you out and throws all your shit on the street.
Yep.
Like, that's, take the pandemic away. Nobody should have to go through that. The fact that this shit is happening in the midst of this horrifying pandemic goes to show you what we, and when I say we, I mean normal, average, everyday, non-billionaire, non-millionaire citizens, what we really mean to the government. Like how much care, the fact that these states are reopening shows that. I know there's a bunch of stupid ass fucking Americans that want these states to reopen, but you know what? The government is supposed to be the smart ones that put restrictions on that when the will of the people is like, hey, we want to go out and die. The government's supposed to at least try and make the fucking case for, like, guys, we understand, but no. Instead, it's just like, oh, there's a mass push to reopen all these fucking places because they don't give a fuck. You're just cows. You're just units of labor to them, and the quicker they can get you out there back in the factories, the better.
I mean, look, we now have 100,000 deaths from COVID-19. That number's going to keep going up. Now, I mean, in some states they've seen the numbers go down, but yeah, that's not. I mean, look, we live in a society. We made up of 50 states here. In a number of states, the numbers are increasing, and we're just reopening all the stuff. We're seeing in a lot of states people largely ignoring social distancing. Unless there's something we don't know, the numbers are not going to get any better. We're just going to have. I mean, we have not really put this thing on either on a. At best, you can say it's maybe plateaued, but if you look at all the overall number of cases, they're still going up. So we can't even say that really. I mean, some states have a plateau or a decrease, but for the most part, we don't. And the fact that we're now making people choose between, and this is the choice. So I will expect, honestly, the unemployment numbers will go down. But that's because a lot of people are facing this. Like, you're going to be on the street.
Well, that's exactly why this is happening. I mean,
of course that's why it's happening.
This is just the stick that they use to beat the underclass with to keep them doing their miserable fucking subsistence, barely subsistence level fucking jobs or sub-subsistence level jobs. Where it's like, oh, you want to keep that roof over your head? Well, you better fucking, you better keep fucking working
Go
2 jobs,
away.
and you better fucking toil fucking 80 hours a week to fucking make sure you can fucking put a roof over your kid's head or whatever.
The
and
roof
if you don't,
over your head.
don't, the fucking state thugs will show up and fucking take the side of your fucking do-nothing parasitic fucking landlord, a class of people that doesn't even deserve to exist on the face of this fucking planet. They're going to take their side over yours. Because,
and bankers, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's add them to the mix.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because, you being able to provide your family with a roof and food and, like, the basic necessities of life, that's not as important as your landlord getting fucking rich off your ass. So, and society has made that determination. So when the fucking police show up, they're not showing up to protect and serve you and your family. They're showing up to kick you out on the streets.
And if you refuse to leave, they'll pull the fucking guns out and they'll shoot you in the head.
Yeah.
That's the violence that waits at the bottom of our fucking system.
Or at the very least, they're going to beat the shit out of you and bring you to jail.
It's the implicit violence that hangs over every fucking human being's head that lives in this country that isn't a part of the, 1%.
Yeah.
At any time, you could face hardship that ends with you being dragged out of your home and your family being dragged out of your fucking home, and we all accept it.
Yeah.
It's fine to read stories like this because it's happening to other people. It's not fine when the sheriff's deputy knocks on your door with his hand on his fucking gun.
Well, I'm real sorry about this, but you got to clear on the fuck out. Because you didn't pay that.
I mean, you'd be lucky if you got that. You'd be lucky if you even got the conceit of, well, I'm real sorry about this.
I was thinking about that paragraph earlier when they said that the sheriff's department released a apologetic statement saying they have to start doing evictions.
Sorry.
Sure.
Well, we real sorry now. Reminds me of the fucking sheriff of Nottingham from the fucking Disney version of Robin Hood. Where
I'm a nittling nuts, so you're driving me insane now.
That's pretty good. But like he has like this real like sort of like pseudo niceness about him in a lot of the scenes. Where it's like,
oh, I sure am sorry that we gotta close you down now.
But
wish it could be some other way, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's of course this isn't some mainstream news source reporting this. It's of course just some hole in the wall on the internet. But I would say their prediction will probably come true. I mean, unless other action is taken, which according to Congress is not necessary. At least the Republicans.
And you know who could stop this? Cops. If the cops actually cared about the people who they were protecting and serving, the cops in this precinct could absolutely refuse. They could be like, you know what? We're not going to process evictions on these fucking people. We're not going to enforce evictions. We refuse.
Yeah.
Not during a pandemic. There would be a court battle over it, but it would at least ensure these people got to stay in their homes for another couple of fucking months. And that's something that they could do at no risk to themselves if they all did it in solidarity. If the police chief on were just like, look, due to the fucking danger of COVID-19 and in the interest of human fucking decency, we're not going to put these people out of their house at a time when we've asked them to stay home and they can't work because they can't work.
I know. It's just such a fucking insane cycle. It's like you're telling people to stay home, some people have to stay home for health reasons and to face eviction. I mean, especially in this time, I agree with you overall, but especially during a pandemic, it's just that there's no sense to it. And it's just a total systemic failure.
Christian rock frontman John Steingard says he no longer believes in God.
Oh, he's reached that point in his career, huh? Where he realizes that sucking on the old Christian teat isn't getting him as much money as being a mainstream success could be, huh?
I don't even know if he's making music anymore. I don't know what he's doing. But have you guys ever heard of this band Hawk Nelson?
No.
I never have either. John Steingard, the frontman of the Christian rock band Hawk Nelson, has told fans he no longer believes in God in a lengthy Instagram post about his faith. The Canadian musician joined the Ontario band in 2004 and has been part of the group's last 7 studio albums, the most recent being 2018's Miracles. ICP beat you to it, buddy. Steingard addressed his faith in an Instagram post last week, writing in the caption that he'd been terrified at the prospect of penning his statement. But it feels like it's time for me to be honest, he wrote. I hope this is not the end of the conversation, but the beginning. I hope this is encouraging to people who might feel the same but are afraid to speak as I am. I want to be open. I want to be transparent with you all, and also open to having my heart changed in the future. In the post itself, Steingard reflected on his Christian upbringing and having the word Christian in front of most things in my life before saying, I am now finding that I no longer believe in God.
This article feels like nostalgic in a way.
Yeah,
feels like something that would have been passed around in 2007 or something.
Yeah,
Like, we got us another fundy, another deconverted fundy, boys. Woo! Comb out your neck beards. It's time to have a
Oh man,
we got another one.
Dude, like this is such. I mean, look, this is like some shit where it's like, this guy wants to go to a new phase in his career. He wants to get some publicity. I mean, good for him, but I just don't give a fuck. It's like, what someone believes about religion, as long as it's a private thing, is, like he's making fucking stupid Christian rock. He knows it sucks, and he wants to do something with his career. So it's like, you know what? It's all kind of bullshit. And I don't think it was just like one day a light bulb went off in his head. It's just like years of dealing with the same bullshit. And it's like, you know what? I'm tired of living a fucking lie. I don't give a fuck about this stuff. I did it for money. Let's move on.
I used to be a Christian, but then I watched a Pat Condell video, and I could no longer, with good conscience, stay in this Christian metal band. I'm sorry.
Old Pat Condell, dude.
If you're someone who follows me because of Hawk Nelson and my involvement in Christian music, you're probably thinking, wait, were you lying to me the whole time? Were you just pretending to be Christian? What about all those songs you wrote? Did you mean those? The short answer is that I was not lying. I did believe those things at the time. I may have been pulling on the threads of the sweater, but there was still some sweater left.
Oh, whatever, dude. Give me a break.
So bullshit. So you've known for quite some fucking time that you don't actually believe in God, and you cashed in on it for a few years.
God paid the bills, so he was like,
Yeah, I don't believe that. Pulling on the threads of the sweater, that's not how it works.
The frontman later added, I am open to the idea that God is there. I'd prefer if he was. I suspect if he is there, he is very different than what I was taught. So leaving the door open for like a return to Christian rock if this doesn't pan out.
This dude, man.
Or maybe deist rock will get big at some point.
I believe there's a God, but I don't think he gives a fuck. Deist rock.
I don't know what his purpose is. I don't know what he does. I don't know nothing about him, but I know he exists. It's like,
and I'm glad to know he's out there, just not giving a shit.
He created all of us, but takes no responsibility. Oh, yeah. It's like, all right, cool. Hey, good for you. Whatever.
I was going to say we need some pagan rock, but there's already like Norwegian metal.
Yeah.
Trump campaign launches You Ain't Black website amid Biden controversy.
Oh, my God.
So we all know. Let's just go to the site. It's more fun to just go to the fucking site.
Yeah, I want to go see what this.
Oh shit! Text woke to 88022. What happens?
Dude, fucking Donald Trump is saucing on Joe Biden so fucking hard.
So hold
right
on.
now.
I'm gonna text woke to this thing and see what happens to me.
Yeah,
Oh my
Scotty.
God.
Text woke to 88022.
88022.
Yeah.
I'm texting woke because I'm fucking woke.
So
you're
all
gonna
caps.
you're gonna be getting fucking text messages from Donald Trump's campaign till the end of time now, Scotty.
I'm woke,
Congratulations.
Paul.
all right. So hold
Oh
on.
damn! I texted the wrong number.
Oh my God.
All right.
All right, let's try this again.
It's not even
You guys-
hard.
you guys talk about it.
88022. What the fuck? All right. So Black Voices for Trump 2020. Text woke to 88022. You got more questions? If you have a problem trying to figure out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black, Joe Biden
Dude,
says.
did he make a ponage video to go along with this?
Yeah, I'm worried about playing it, but I'm gonna try.
Well, does it have like copyright music?
Actually, yeah, dude, I got it.
You're for
Oh,
me
go
or
ahead and play this.
Trump, and you ain't black. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black, and you ain't black, and you ain't black.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. Yep. Scotty, what did it do? Did it do anything?
Okay, so this is what happens.
Okay.
I texted woke.
Uh-huh.
I got this message. Reply with zip code to stand with President Trump against the fake news. Text stop to end or help for help. I typed in a zip code. Thanks. Take our Team Trump survey. So now I'm on the survey. Okay, and here is what it says. Do you approve of the job being done by President Donald J. Trump?
Donald Day Trump?
Donald Day Trump.
Yes.
I am
Donald
Donald Day Trump.
I got some weed mouth going on. Okay. Do you approve of the job being done by President Trump regarding the innovation and improvement of our country's infrastructure? Yes.
Wait, what? When did that happen?
I don't remember, but
I don't recall
did.
any major infrastructure changes happening, but okay.
Do you approve of the job being done by President Trump to keep America safe? Yes. Of course I do.
Okay. Sure.
Do you approve the job being done by President Trump regarding the rolling back of restriction on regulations?
No. No, I don't.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you approve of the job being done by President Trump regarding the sanctity of life? Yes.
Scotty poisoning the fucking.
Do you approve the job being
results
done
here.
by President Trump regarding national security? No opinion. No opinion on that one.
Okay.
Do you approve the job being done by President Trump regarding the better care and treatment of our heroic veterans?
Oh, yeah.
How could
Yes,
you
of
disagree with that one?
All right, here's the last one. Do you approve the job being done by President Trump regarding immigration and securing the southern border? Of course I do.
The wall
Absolutely.
being built.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Sweet. So that's all it really does. It's just to get you to do a fucking
All right,
stupid survey.
Let's see if this get woke button leads to the same fucking survey. Okay, so this is Black Voices for Trump. Unite with us. Okay. I wonder how many white dudes have signed up for this Black Voices for
Oh
Trump thing.
damn, dude! Diamond and Silk are co-chairs.
Yeah, co-chairs. And Herman
on the
Cain,
advisory
dude.
board.
Herman Cain.
Yeah.
Herman Cain is
Herman
back?
Cain's there, dude. Oh, what the fuck?
What? Wait a minute.
I didn't even
Herman
know.
Cain? Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, shit. I want to join. Yeah, meet him. I want to meet Herman Cain. The fuck? Okay, hold on. They got like a whole little like campaign site and stuff. This is, I guess, empowering the black community has always been a top priority for Donald J. Trump, even before he became president. Since his inauguration, President Trump has championed policies that have revitalized the black community. He has done this by creating a more inclusive economy for black Americans, providing historic funding for our historical black colleges and universities, expanding school choice, and giving former inmates a second chance to achieve the American dream. Criminal justice reform, historically black colleges, entrepreneurship,
basically the
school
Trump
choice.
administration view of black people is like, hey, we want to give money to black colleges, and we're going to help get your fucking daddy out of prison, because that's where black people are, right? In jail.
I mean, a lot of them are. I mean, it's just okay. 90% of this is what's going on here. 90% of those who have had their sentences reduced are black Americans. Okay. First Step Act shortens mandatory minimum sentences for nonviolent drug crimes. The law allows offenders sentenced under racially motivated mandatory minimums to petition for revaluation. President Trump launched the Ready to Work initiative, which helps released prisoners gain meaningful employment. Go be a cog in the machine once again. President Trump has proposed the Second Step Act to partner with corporate America to create opportunities for former prisoners to rejoin society.
So it's about more slave labor, basically.
Yeah.
Stop being
Stop
being a cog in the prison system and come be a cog in the work system again.
Yeah. Because they're felons, we can get them cheap.
Real cheap.
Yeah, this is horseshit.
I like it. It's all good. I mean, like, he's doing something nice for Black America. Herman Cain's on the fucking advisory board, Paul.
I mean, that is cool.
I was skeptical about all this shit, but then I saw Herman fucking Cain, and I realized, like, this is legit, Paul. This
Backed
is
up
fucking
by
legit.
Diamond and Silk. I mean, come on.
I mean, Diamond and Silk, I can take or leave Diamond and Silk, but Herman Cain is a god among men, all right?
Well, I'll tell you how I feel about Diamond and Silk. Now, Diamond, she ain't really shit, but Silk, though?
All right, I'll give you that. I think Silk is great.
Though?
Diamond kind of sucks. I'll be honest with you.
Diamond is kind of a loudmouth, but Silk, though?
Yeah.
Silk
is
smooth,
dope.
TJ, come on.
Silk is dope. I'll give you that. But like, I feel like when you got one good one and one bad one, that kind of just evens out to sort of meh for me, you know?
I don't know. I just tune out Diamond and I listen to every word that Silk has to say to me.
I wish I could do that, but you know,
every
it's so hard.
chocolate word that
Diamond's
emanates
so
from her
annoying. And it's like,
deliciously plump, juicy lips and her
Wow,
beautiful,
Paul.
beautiful, flawless skin.
all right.
Sounds like some misogyny coming on you, Paul.
Oh no, dude. I jerked it to Silk this morning.
I don't blame you.
I bet you did.
I
don't
have
blame you.
I have a silk rag with Silk's picture on it that I jerk off into.
All right, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question then.
Yeah,
Of these two, which one is Diamond and which one is Silk?
that's an irrelevant question, TJ.
Okay,
I thought.
Paul.
That's an irrelevant question.
So Biden, not being satisfied with digging a hole, wants it a little deeper. Biden says Charlemagne the God was being a wise guy when he made "Ain't Black" commentary. Now this is a terrible headline because it makes it sound like Charlemagne said the "Ain't Black" thing. But
Yeah,
whatever.
this is written horrible.
Presidential candidate Joe Biden said Leonard McClevely, known as Charlemagne the God. Yeah, geez, if my name was Leonard McClevely, I'd go by Charlemagne the God too.
Mm-hmm.
Had an attitude when he stirred controversy by saying black voters who considered supporting President Trump ain't black. Once again, it's making it sound like Charlemagne said that. This is really, like, is this deceptively written?
Yes.
It seems like it, yeah.
This doesn't seem like they're just okay. All right, whatever. During a CNN interview with with network host Dana Bash, Biden said Charlemagne, who is black, was being a wise guy during their Breakfast Club discussion last week, which he said explained his behavior at the time. It was a mistake, number one, and I was smiling when he asked me the question. I shouldn't have been such a wise guy with him. He was being a wise guy, and I responded in kind. I shouldn't have done that. It was a mistake, Biden said, later asserting he has never taken black voters for granted.
Dude, if there's anyone in this election taking black voters for granted, is definitely Joe Biden. That's pretty much been his campaign.
While appearing on the radio, yeah, we know what he did. Yeah, basically, so now he's like, look, I was being a wise guy. He was being a wise. We were wise guys. You know, it was a bunch of wise guy bullshit going on. That's what's going on.
It was locker room talk, TJ.
Yeah, it was locker room talk. It was wise guy locker room discussions. Charlemagne was not being a fucking wise guy at that moment either. Like, go look at the context of that clip. He was just asking a pretty fucking pertinent and direct question
he was
to
being a wise guy.
a candidate, but whatever. So, Joe Biden, once again, proving that he is the worst.
Oh, have you seen the Joe Biden saying he's going to beat Joe Biden clip yet, TJ?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, you should find that and play that.
I'm having, it's every time I fucking play a video.
At least play the audio, dude. It's great.
Well, every time I play fucking something, my CPU usage is going fucking through the roof. So
You fucking piece of shit, TJ. I knew this fucking computer problem wasn't going any goddamn where.
yeah, I mean, like, it's fine as long as I don't play a video. But, you know, that's pretty
As
shitty.
long as I don't play a video, it's okay.
I'm going to do a RAM upgrade on this this machine. Jimmy Fallon apologizes for terrible decision in doing blackface on SNL, I guess. I am very sorry for making this unquestionably offensive decision, and thank you all for holding me accountable. That's a new one.
I love that. Well, no, it's not new. I've heard like this kind of response from people who have gotten like called out on this type
Really,
of
this
problematic
is
shit.
this is my first exposure to the thank
Really?
you for holding me accountable.
Oh, dude,
thing.
no, this is a fucking tactic. You go like, thank you. You're in the
Yes.
right. I'm wrong.
I want to thank you for bringing to my attention just how wrong I've been all these years, and I wish I would have addressed it sooner, but you held me accountable. Thank you so much.
I guess I don't pay as much attention to these celebrity apologies as other people. Jimmy Fallon on Tuesday apologized for doing blackface 20 years ago during a sketch on NBC's Saturday Night Live. The Tonight Show host and SNL vet said he was sorry after the clip resurfaced and he was criticized for the moment across Twitter. In 2000, while on SNL, I made a terrible decision to do an impersonation of Chris Rock while in blackface. There is no excuse for this, Fallon said in a tweet. I am very sorry for making this unquestionably offensive decision, and thank you all for holding me accountable.
When's Robert Downey Jr.'s apology? I'm waiting for it.
Hopefully never. Fallon has done his Rock impression a number of times over the years, such as on Howard Stern's radio show. There is no legitimate clip of the segment available, with NBC having scrubbed it from the SNL site, but bootlegs are floating around YouTube and Twitter. Sure.
I will say this, Paul. The weird thing about that is like, so people have tried. It doesn't work with Robert Downey Jr. They no, there's not a big like groundswell of people trying to go, yeah, let's do that. Like most people are like, nah, we don't care.
I think it's because
Jimmy
most people
Fallon-
understand that he was doing it to mock blackface and
That's what I'm
like the
saying, yeah.
stupidity of an actor who would do something like that. So, I mean,
It is odd that like, because even 20 years ago, a white dude in blackface was not it wasn't a kosher thing. You wouldn't see it.
yeah.
Done.
Well, apparently you did on NBC SNL.
Jimmy Fallon's a little
my
fucking
thing is, like,
weasel too.
did
So
Jimmy
of course he's gonna do
like
this.
did Jimmy Fallon come up with like, I'm gonna do blackface on SNL? Like, I'm surely like that had to be approved and other people had to be like, yeah, that's gonna fucking fly and go really well. Like, you know,
I mean, okay, so back when I was on DP and shit, and I was kind of in a lower on the totem pole kind of situation, if you guys had come to me and been like, all right, Paul, do blackface, I would have immediately grabbed the grease paint and put it on and got smeared the red paint on I would have done it immediately. No questions asked. So poor Jimmy was forced, is what I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
was
like,
totally-
I don't feel like Jimmy Fallon probably had a tremendous amount of clout. I didn't even really know he was on SNL, honestly, but I didn't know that he had. Yeah, I guess I did, but he's so fucking. I hate Jimmy Fallon so much. Can I just say that? Like,
No.
aside from all this other stuff, like, I really despise Jimmy Fallon. I think he's like the fakest fuck alive. I hate when he sits there and listens to celebrities say unfunny shit and
He's
like
the worst, dude. He's the
laughs
worst
like
person
it's
on this
actually
late
funny.
night shit. Period.
Like,
You know what the sad thing
anything
is,
any
though,
celebrity
TJ?
says, like if a celebrity goes on his show, it's like, yeah, and my dog was, sniffing this other dog's butt or some fucking prosaic bullshit. He'll be like, oh, wow, we're having fun here. Like the desperation, and you just feel the beads of sweat. I hate that. Okay, but you know what? I don't think he had much to do with his decision to do the
like
blackface
goes
thing.
like
He was
several emotional states in like 20 seconds. Which we're talking about Jimmy Fallon. I didn't know Jimmy Fallon engendered such a passion in you, TJ. I think you need to make an episode about him, dude. Because there was like a fucking I felt like the performance there was like I laughed with you, I cried with you, I empathized with you. Like they had this whole range of emotions in like 20 seconds because
Dude.
you talked about Jimmy Fallon.
Dude, I hate Jimmy Fallon so much. You have no
I
idea.
fucking hate Jimmy. Oh, but you know what? All
It's-
right, man.
he's
Life
like-
goes on.
It's
Like, what? You're all over the place
it's,
on this one,
it's
TJ.
Ray Liotta up here on top of my hate list,
Mhm.
and then just
Why rate? I mean, whatever.
Jimmy
I don't
Fallon.
know.
Dude,
right here.
we should do a fucking we
Jimmy
should do
Fallon.
a fucking actor hate off, dude. We should list all the actors and comedians and shit we hate and just see who's the worst.
I don't think I hate anyone other than like as far as like performers go, other than Ray Liotta and Jimmy Fallon. I think those are the only two I actually
We'll
hate.
find more, dude.
Oh, I could think of a few.
like because like even when you're talking about
I
like
can think of a few.
like Carrot Top or something, like he annoys me and I think he sucks, but like I don't really hate him.
all right,
Carrot
go
Top
watch
had-
a Carrot Top special and tell me if you still sing that tone. You just
mean,
avoid him, so you
yeah,
haven't
that's
been given
true.
a chance to hate him.
But I avoid Ray Liotta and Jimmy Fallon as much as possible too. But I still hate their guts. Ugh.
That's a shame.
Um,
You want to know what the sad thing about Jimmy Fallon is, though, TJ?
what's that?
And it might change your mind on him.
Oh yeah.
He is a tender and attentive lover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he should go fuck himself then. Toronto man says Canada Post just delivered package he ordered 8 years ago.
Better late than never.
Well, shit. It got there.
A Toronto man says Canada Post recently delivered to him a package they ordered online nearly 8 years ago. After a Canada Post delivery person rang his doorbell on May 6th, Elliot Berenstein said he found a package from the online retailer Well CA sitting on his doorstep. Berenstein said he was initially confused because he hadn't ordered anything from the e-commerce site in years. When he opened it, however, it all made sense. I opened it, and inside was an invoice from 2012, and it was a tube of Brile cream I ordered in 2012. I started laughing because I thought it was pretty funny that it came 8 years later. At the time of his initial order, Berenstein said he had been living in Ottawa, and the hair cream never arrived at his address there. He said he contacted Well CA, and they agreed to ship the product again to his home in Toronto because he thought it might be easier. It didn't come again. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't worth the headache, so I forgot about it. Blah, 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 blah. And I don't know. So years later, it fucking came. It's just late. It's just a really late package. I mean, I don't know what to fucking tell you.
This is actually just an indictment. If you live in Canada, that's what your mail system is like. Package delivery time, about 8 years.
Yeah.
The post office, like
results typical.
Now, if you want an express ship, like within a couple of years, they're gonna charge you even double for that. TJ, look, they just don't have a functioning postal system like this country.
I just think people are whiners. Look, end of the day, guy ordered some Brill cream and he got it right. You can't dispute those facts. So what's the problem here? I mean, who was really hurt here? You know what I mean? I'm all for well.ca. I think their shipping is magnificent, and I would use them again had they not closed down 7 years ago.
Yeah, this is I like this story though. Berlin, World War II bombing survivor Saturn the alligator. Yeah, he's dead. He did.
Poor
did,
Saturn
yo.
the alligator, man.
Hey,
you know what? This is not necessarily.
This one's for you, Saturn.
Well, it's not necessarily sad because he lived a good long life. He's old as shit.
And he lived through some shit, too.
An alligator who survived World War II in Berlin and was rumored wrongly to have belonged to Nazi leader Adolf Hitler has died in Moscow, the Moscow Zoo. Yesterday morning, our Mississippi alligator, Saturn, died of old age. He was about 84 years old, an extremely respectable age, the zoo said. Saturn was gifted to Berlin Zoo in 1936, soon after he was born in the U.S. He escaped the zoo being bombed in 1943. British soldiers found him 3 years later and gave him to the Soviet Union. How he spent the intervening years always remained a mystery, but since July 1946, the gator has been a hit with visitors in Moscow. Moscow Zoo has had the honor of keeping Saturn for 74 years, the zoo said in a statement. For us, Saturn was an entire era, and without the slightest exaggeration, he saw many of us when we were children. We hope that we did not disappoint him. I don't think. Okay, so let me just say this: the gator does not experience the emotion of disappointment, other than like, I thought I was gonna get to eat that thing, but then I didn't. That's like,
how do you know, TJ? How the fuck do you know?
I don't think
Saturn was keeping a watchful eye on them.
I don't think he looks at like some dude that's like, you know, comes in with a bunch of tattoos and shit. It's like, I remember you when you were but a child, you know, Romanoff or whatever the fuck. And
fuck you, TJ.
You have grown into a man now, and I see that, you know, you have taken the wrong path in life.
Ancient, wise alligator like surveying you and be like, TJ.
No, I don't.
Ah, you have grown well.
Alligators are just
strong, TJ.
Big, stupid lizards.
I remember you as a child when you would come to the Audubon Zoo, TJ, and you would frolic and play.
Well, you know what, dude? The reason he fears it, Scotty, is because he knows it would be negative. It wouldn't be you've grown strong. It would be, TJ.
You have grown fat and complacent.
Yep.
You have grown fat and weak, TJ.
Yeah, well, look at you. You still a fucking dumb lizard in a cage, so fucking eat my dick.
That may be so, TJ, but I know my place in the order of things.
Yeah, great.
I lived through World War II. Can you claim the same?
No, I guess not. The zoo
not
reported...
an ounce of flab upon my alligator body, but yours.
The zoo reported that Saturn knew his keepers, loved being massaged with a brush, and was able to crack steel feeding tongs and bits of concrete with his teeth if irritated. Mississippi alligators usually live 30 to 50 years in the wild, it added. Saturn may have even been the world's oldest alligator. It's impossible to say. Another male alligator, Muja, who is at the Belgrade Zoo in Serbia, is also in his 80s and still alive, but it's doubtful any alligator can compete with Saturn if it came to selling their memoirs. The most headline-grabbing details is the rumor Saturn belonged to Hitler in Hitler's personal collection, which is untrue. It's untrue. So almost,
dude, if he ever wrote his memoirs, he should name them Hitler's Gator, dude.
Yeah. Almost immediately after the arrival of the animal, the myth appeared that it was supposedly in Hitler's collection and not in the Berlin Zoo. It is unclear how that rumor started because it sounds way more interesting.
Yeah. And also because of clickbait, like Hitler's pet alligator ? Hitler did actually, in fact, not own an alligator, but this is a really old, cool alligator. It's like, okay, cool.
Saturn's death-defying escape in 1943 is unlikely ever to be explained. Berlin, the capital of Nazi Germany, was subjected to intense Allied bombing before the war ended in 1945. The so-called Battle of Berlin began in November 1943, and at the night of the 22nd, 23rd November, saw extensive damaged areas west of the center, including the Tiergarten district, where the city's zoo is located. Thousands of people were killed or injured, and many of the zoo's animals perished too. What?
Fuck you, dude. You're talking shit on Saturn, and literally he was like in the middle of a fucking war zone where people and other animals dead. What's Saturn doing? I'm fine. Let me just escape the fucking bombs.
Kind
and
of
shit.
a belated fuck you, but whatever. Thousands of people were killed or injured.
Belated fuck you,
I'm trying to tell his fucking harrowing goddamn story. Shut up.
Why don't you apologize to Saturn right now and I'll shut up?
All right, I'm sorry. The zoo's aquarium.
Sorry to who?
I'm sorry, Saturn. The zoo's aquarium building took a direct hit. One report said passersby had seen the corpses of 4 crocodiles in the street outside, tossed there by the force of the blast.
Of course, a bunch of crocodiles are fucking dead.
Saturn somehow survived and then lived for 3 years in a city ravaged by war and a climate unsuited to alligators. So wait, Saturn was just like on the streets that whole time?
Saturn was a fucking god amongst alligators, dude.
You know what?
He fucking lived on the fucking mean streets of fucking Berlin
of war-torn Berlin. All right. You know what? I'm sorry. When I apologized to Saturn earlier, it was just to shut Scotty the fuck up. But now that I know that the gator lived on the streets of war-ravaged Berlin for 3 years, just somehow surviving on its own, I'm gonna just go ahead and say, all right, the Saturn was pretty dope, and his life story probably should be turned into a movie. So
yes,
dude, I love that Flash Fried is slowly morphing into just irritating TJ as much as we.
Oh yeah, what a fucking change of pace from literally everything else that ever happens.
You know what, TJ?
What a breath of fresh air. Oh, this is the show where
this is payback
TJ
from yesterday, dude. You know exactly what I'm
comeuppance.
talking about. This is payback, bitch. It's time for some payback, TJ.
What are you pitching about? You won the beef. Well, whatever. I don't want to spoil nothing. Just bleep that out.
Idiot, TJ. God, you fucking idiot, dude.
Now you know whatever. Now you know whatever.
Bleep it.
Beep.
Anyway, this is the last story. The American Horror Story spinoff is officially happening.
Sick.
All of your deepest, darkest nightmares are about to come true. According to TV Line, the American Horror Story spin-off series is officially happening. Ryan Murphy will once again team up with FX to turn all his spooky fantasies into terrifying realities. Titled American Horror Stories, each episode of the hour-long series will center around individual, self-contained horror stories, making each episode installment a separate entity.
This is why I'm excited about it, dude. He's making an episodic horror.
We haven't seen this for a while. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some concepts doing it, but I other than I think back to Tales from the Crypt or
Creep Show on Shudder
now. Shudder's Creep Show, but that's kind of super low budget shit. Hopefully this will. I don't know if it's as crazy as American Horror Story.
This will have a budget behind it. That's why it's exciting.
As of now, no casting decisions have been announced. However, Murphy used a screenshot from a Zoom call with all his former AHS cast members to tease the news in early May, indicating each of them would be asked to return for the show should the show get greenlit. I guess it's still this should be greenlit.
I got to tell you what, dude. If this show isn't greenlit, then FX is freaking stupid.
I know.
Yes.
And you got there she is. There's Kathy Bates there. There's all the other fucking people whose faces I recognize but not names. That's good. American Horror Stories isn't the only show within the AHS universe facing possible delays, though. I mean, obviously everything's kind of delayed right now. Murphy recently informed the Wrap that American Horror Stories' upcoming 10th season might need to be pushed back to next year due to its weather-dependent theme. A lot of what I was going to shoot was dependent on a very specific moment. Murphy explained to the outlet it was a weather-dependent show. So now I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with the next show. I don't know if I'll accelerate another season or wait till next year to shoot this one. Thankfully, the series has already been renewed through season 13, so delays or not, the show is sticking around for quite some time. And now that there is officially a spinoff in the works, Murphy is guaranteed to be scaring all of us for more years to come. Now, I don't really think... Have you ever actually been scared in American Horror Story?
I mean, like, there's been some like scenes in it that were unsettling and spooky. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And there's some jump scares in them that landed on me.
Yeah.
But as far as like being actually, that's not really what the show's about.
Right. So I just don't. I just find it funny when they write it like that. I mean, I guess it's it's a horror show, right? But I mean, like, it's not really ever been. Scary.
I mean, some people though are very squeamish and easy to scare.
I guess that's true.
So the show probably does scare them on that level, but I think that's but it's not like a jump scare show. I mean, are there elements of that present at times? Of course, there's weird monsters or weird shit that'll pop up. You're like, oh, that's creepy or that's weird, but I don't think it's meant to just be like, oh, like movies designed to do that usually have a ton of jump scares. They want that big sort of visceral reaction from you where it's like, okay, sound effect. Okay, no, I faked you out. Oh no, now you're jumping. I don't think that's really what I mean, I'm not saying I've never seen it on the show, and there's some wild shit that happens, but really it's more like kind of like a bewilderment, in my opinion. I'm usually just like, what the fuck are they going to do next? Like, I have no idea.
It's a soap opera.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the brilliance of it. I used to watch soap operas because my mom would play them, and that would be
watch the stories, Paul.
Yeah, I used to watch the stories.
I'm gonna watch my stories.
And yeah, they were like that too. It was like every episode of All My Children, which was hers, would be like, somebody's dead brother was actually alive and he's back.
Yeah, yeah.
Or this guy's got a twin and he's in love with the same woman as his twin brother. Who will she choose?
Or the dark secrets, dude. I always love that. There's the dark secrets about them. Oh, he killed this person.
You're actually, this person that was interested in me, that I'd been rebuffing their advances, is actually my child, and that's why I was rebuffing the advances, because your parents, I adopted, adopted you from me. Just, and every episode is like that. There's always some big twist. And it's really the same thing here. Just a high budget soap opera with a horror theme instead of, I don't know, middle-aged
It's a pretty
woman
awesome
thing.
show overall. I haven't really been, any of the seasons I've watched, I felt were definitely worth watching.
The one pictured here, in my opinion, is the worst. And I'd still recommend people watch it. It's not unwatchable, but it's probably the one I ended up liking the least. It's Coven. It just, I don't know. It had more downs than ups, but it still had a lot of ups. But all the rest of them I've watched, I thought were brilliant.
And clearly they're in the French Quarter.
Yeah, it's the one that takes place in New Orleans. So.
Down in New Orleans where the Blues were born.
Damn, New Orleans is the lame one.
Dude, can you tell me why fucking when Windows wants to update, it'll pop up that thing that says, hey, do you want to schedule a time or remind me tomorrow or whatever? And I'll hit remind me tomorrow. And then like 10 minutes later, it's asking me again. I just told you to remind me tomorrow.
The reason it does that is because it's fucking evil and it doesn't care what you say and it just wants to update. I don't know why it even bothers asking. I just feel like it should just be like, hey, we're updating now. I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
Assuming direct control of your machine.
I guarantee you someone's written a fucking program to remove the Windows update shit.
I would
It's
blame
so
it.
fucking annoying. It's so fucking annoying.
It is pretty goddamn hideous, so I'll give it that. Anyway, I think that's the conclusion of our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hope that you enjoyed all of our little opinions about the news. Sorry that Paul had to bleep himself on the issues in Minneapolis right now.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I would have liked to have said what I thought, but I don't want to go to jail and stuff,
Yeah, but you can just use your imaginations.
And TJ,
And whatever
I'd
you
like
come
to
up with is
applaud you.
probably accurate enough. What's that, Scotty?
TJ, I'd like to applaud you, TJ, for recognizing ultimately what I said about Saturn was true.
Yeah.
And you know what, TJ? I think you grew a lot today. You realized you were wrong about something, and you took the courageous step. And I commend you for this, TJ.
Yeah.
When you were wrong, you righted that wrong and admitted, TJ, in front of all these people, that you were totally wrong about Saturn. And he was, in fact, a badass alligator.
And you know what, Scotty? I want to thank you for holding me
Thank you.
accountable.
You know what, TJ?
TJ was wrong
It's
about he was wrong about a lot today.
I wasn't wrong about shit. Fuck
There
you,
was a
Paul.
lot of wrongs today, TJ.
But luckily, Scotty and I were here to
Yeah.
educate him.
All right, the show's over. Goodbye.